Hello, my name is Evan Wilcher, and I'm here to pitch the game Infinite Dungeon. Infinite Dungeon is a single-player 3D roguelite arcade game where you survive as long as possible as the dungeon changes before you. You can unlock character types, and each run is randomly generated as you play the game. The genre is third-person roguelite arcade game. It's not quite roguelike, since it's missing a few features from the genre, but roguelike and roguelite fans can enjoy the game. It's rated T for blood and violence, and the target audience is ages 13 and up. Feedback given to the player will be sound effects for footsteps and in combat, haptic feedback for when you're in combat whenever you block and take damage, and whenever you deliver heavy blows too. Players will be notified whenever they receive a power up. Players will be notified when they're entering a challenge room, and players will be notified when the run begins and when the run ends. The platform that we're shooting for is for PC, since the game may be out of scope for mobile. The gameplay is as follows. Players will begin in one of three rooms: triangle, square, or hexagon. Random rooms are then positioned around the player's starting room, connected by their walls. Once the player enters another room, rooms around the player are added or taken away depending on how far the player is from that room. The player will face opposition from enemies in randomly trapped rooms. The player can find power-ups to help them on their run by defeating bosses or room challenges. Core actions. The player will have different attacks depending on what character type they chose at the start of the round. Some characters will be able to do more damage and hit more targets as at the cost of speed, while other characters have great mobility at the cost of damage. The player will be able to utilize enemy patterns to find weak points within rooms, allowing the player to find hidden exits. The player will also be able to tame animals and different enemies that are in the dungeon. These are more focused on animals like birds and wolves, and they can help you out while you're in the dungeon. QA. What will be the target platform? Again, we are shooting for PC, just because the scope may be too big for mobile. But as the game reaches or grows in popularity and has a stronger fan base, we may port it to mobile to reach more people. What are some character types that will be added? I would like to add flying character types and characters that can control time as well. I think this game having little mechanics is actually a benefit to the game, since then we can focus heavily on those mechanics and how to manipulate them. What other types of enemies are there? Uh, since this is a maze-like game, I was thinking of adding minotaurs and different monsters from Greek mythologies and Egyptian mythologies as well. Could the game could the game never end? The game uh, will proceed for as long as possible. However, there will be checks whether if the player is moving or not, and if not, then of course they will be attacked by different enemies or maybe locked in a room and instantly killed, depending on how long they've been there for. Um, the scoring also prevents people from standing still for too long, since you're also graded by the number of rooms that you enter as well. Can this game be made in half a year? Given the resources and enough people, I believe this game can be developed in 6 months, um, with most of its features intact. There may be a few updates after the game's release to fix any bugs or any issues, but I believe we can tackle all mechanics and still have a pretty chunky game as far as content goes. Backlog theme. For the theme of the game, I want this to be get in, get out, not necessarily fast pace, but instead of playing for hours, you're playing for maybe 30 minutes to 45 minutes at a time type of game where you're trying to last as long as possible in a game that's trying to tear you down. The mood that trying to or hit is a feeling of being lost, um, and a feeling of being dismal, as if you're not sure where to go, if you should backtrack, or where to push or where even is forward. As the player is playing through the level, I'm taking away parts of the level that they've already been through, and so they'll never be able to go back there again. If they miss something, it's gone for good. If they've gone far enough. The user interface. I want this to be simple, giving you the time that you're in the level and your health. I'm not going to have too many items or too many spells, and anything that you pick up is probably going to be a power up to add to your health or to your defense or attack. The core systems will be a random level generator. This also consists of like rooms having traps within them and the enemies that are placed or bosses that are placed in that room. Combat, which will be Soulsborne like, where you have your weapon equipped, and depending on your weapon type, dictates how fast your movements are, how much damage you're doing, and the lag between inputs. Player stats. This will be uh, this system is used for utilizes power ups and the player's current abilities or current stat abilities as they're playing the game. As they pick up power ups, they'll become like stronger, more attack, more health, or more defense, and that will show on the player's stats. And taming. Um, this is for different animals or different enemies that are in the game that are friendly or could be friendly to you. You'll be able to uh, have them join you on your side and help you on your quests. They may die while you're in there. They don't have like the biggest health pool, but they could do other things like help you find exits. Core mechanics. The biggest thing is focusing on the weapons. Different weapon types will be able to do certain things, such as like the hammer breaking through different walls, a bow and arrow being able to shoot an arrow at a wall or at the ceiling and being able to climb up with that with the rope, and shields being able to shield bats and stun enemies in combat. Um, with the addition of other weapons, we'll see other mechanics being applied to the game through those weapons and characters. The level design is pretty much the bulk of the game, where the level is going to be building around the player as the player plays. I'm using only three pieces to build the level. Of course, they'll be textured and everything to fit a certain theme, but these pieces of the level is all I'm using to build out horizontally and vertically so they can go up and down and side to side. The intended aesthetics, again, I'm trying to have more of a gothic feeling, more of a you're inside of a dungeon that has no exit. I'm trying to make the player feel like there's no possible way of getting out. There's no way you can survive through this. However, trying to also push them to go as long as possible. The different technologies I'll be using will be Unreal Engine 5, Ableton, Blender, and Paint.net. Unreal Engine 5 is a industry standard game engine that is free to use unless you're trying to publish your game, but Epic Games has services to help out developers for that. Ableton is free software that you can use for music and sound effect creation. You do have to buy music packs if you want to. However, you can create your own using a MIDI keyboard. Blender is a 3D editing software where you can create 3D objects, meshes, textures, materials, import them to Unreal Engine 5. And Paint.net is a free software that you can use to create 2D textures, sprites, or images, or edit images. And here are my references. Thank you for your time. Again, my name is Evan Wilcher, and this pitch was for the game Infinite Dungeon. Thank you.